back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching the Daily Debate live on Nile TV International, and we're glad to be joined here live at the studio by Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, economic and banking expert. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to say good evening for you and our audience, and I would like to say Happy Women Month to all Egyptian ladies.
Thank you. Well, starting off with talking about the Egyptian industry and localizing Egyptian industry, how do you read the directives of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi of localizing the industry and technology regarding the construction and infrastructure sectors?
Actually, it is a great initiative, and it indicates that we have a vision. Actually, the presidential leadership is having a great vision. The challenge in coming years that how you have the know-how and how to localize your products.
Yes.
And in addition to have a competitive edge.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I would like to start the journey of this. Actually, what's happening now, we are being the fruits. We are being the fruits of 7 years from starting the economic reform in all aspects, from legal aspect, the health, education, energy, infrastructure, external affairs, the monetary system, the digitalization, the FDI, a lot of things. If I would like to take you and our audience through this journey, I would like to start to answering two questions actually. Where we are now and where we want to go. Actually, I would like to start with where we want to go. This is which indicate the great vision for our presidential leadership. Actually, the President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has an ambitious plan to raise Egypt's non-petroleum exports to reach, as far as I recall, $100 billion over the next 3 to 4 years.
Yes.
This is our vision. Where we are now, actually the Egyptian exports, as far as I recall, reached to 31 billion by end of 2021, which proves the ability of export sector to deal with the global crisis imposed by COVID-19 outbreak.
Yes.
Beside the other challenges that we faced. Actually, the total export subsidy disbursed in 2021 to about EGP 6.9 billion, from which, as far as I recall, 1,355 companies benefited from it. Actually, I would like to highlight that one of the most important things, one of the famous quotes for Steve Jobs, to me, ideas are worth nothing unless executed. This is a crucial thing. We have a great plan and we have a great vision, and the challenge is in execution, actually.
Yes.
If I would like to start the journey that we are being the fruits, starting the economic reform and the impact of this, starting the devaluation in 2016 and the impact of it, and the interest rate, the change in the interest rate. And this is one of the most important things that nowadays all people, what's happening in the interest rate, the FX rate, those are the tools of the Monetary Policy Committee to manage supply and demand. And if I would like to take you and our audience back in this situation
in 2016.
Yes, in 2016. What happened? We have the inflation reached to, as far as I recall, to 33%, and gradually it decreased to reach 7%.
And even the dollar rate went down.
Yes,
after the devaluation.
Gradually, and I would like to highlight that one of the most important things that the CBE reserve was like $19 billion, and it reached now to more than $40 billion.
Yes.
Can you imagine what's happening? It's something crucial and important, how the government has a great a great vision. And one of my friends, actually my international friends, he told me that he has a great curiosity to monitor Middle East news and the economic part. He told me what's happening in Egypt. What's happening? The numbers are booming and changing gradually, slowly but surely.
Yes.
But the numbers are booming. He described our situation that the government having a magic stick to change things. Can you imagine? This is one of my international friends. If I can say this in an official way, we can see the international rating agencies like Moody's, Fitch, Standard & Poor's, they increased the rating, the Egyptian rating.
Yes,
actually.
yes.
They reached to B+ with positive outlook. Can you imagine what is going now? We are building actually the new republic.
Egypt.
Yes.
Right. Talking also about the significance of establishing industrial complexes in new areas in particular. How do you see the significance of this?
Actually, it's very important. Part of this thing, which how to extract the FDI. The FDI is a global challenge nowadays. Actually, the FDI increased Egypt. I would like to share some figures with our audience.
Yes.
FDI increased in Egypt, registered the growth equal to 0.4 of the country nominal GDP in June 2021, compared with the growth equal 1.5% in the previous quarter. Actually, one of the most important things that the United Nations Conference on Trade Development, as far as I recall, starting 2002, they announced that Egypt ranked as the top FDI destination in Africa between, I would like to stress, to emphasize on that, between 2016, which is after the devaluation, and 2022. Egypt actually has passed a number of regulatory reforms law, including investment law in 2017, a new companies law, and the bankruptcy law in 2018, and a new custom law in 2022. Actually, the 2017 investment law is designed to attract new investment and provide a framework for the government to offer investors more incentives. And this is reflected actually on a lot of industry like ICT, technology. This is one of the most important things. And if we would like to change a country, we have to focus on the GDP. And actually, I would like to return to see it on a more strategic view, which is we have to focus on the GDP structure.
Okay.
I would like to highlight it and to explain it simply to our audience. The GDP structure consists of three main parts: the industrial part and the agricultural part, in addition to the service part. If you would like to have a competitive edge and to increase the GDP, you have to focus on two things more, which is the industrial part and the service part. And actually, this is what's happening now. And we are supporting, the government supporting this with through doing a lot of infrastructure and mega projects in different ways. And in addition to focusing on SMEs.
Yes, the small and medium enterprises, of course. Talking also about the 6th edition of Egypt Can, the conference of titled Egypt Can with Industry. This will be held soon in March the 27th and 28th under the patronage of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. In your opinion, how does this conference reflect the Egyptian state's vision and the importance attached by the political leadership to the industrial life?
Actually, I would like to elaborate more about Egypt Can Conference. Actually, this event is organized by Ministry of Immigration in cooperation with two ministries, Ministry of Trade and Industry. Actually, the conference is quite important. It will have, as far as I recall, 8 sessions. It will be held as part of the conference to discuss first industrial areas, including industrial investment, the future of industry in Egypt and Africa, artificial intelligence. I would like to focus on artificial intelligence, which is the new era of the world. You know, there's something crucial nowadays. If you would like to develop a product or to offer a product to any country, there's a mechanism which is called the artificial intelligence and the big data. The big data, which is quite important. Can you imagine that you can realize easily customer needs and you hit a nerve for the customer by monitoring the behavior and identify the crucial needs? For example, if I can one day to tailor for you something which is tailored especially for you or for the customer. Actually, this is quite important thing. And in this conference also, they will discuss the green industry in light of Egypt's preparation to host UN Climate Change Conference in November 2022.
Right. So we will just go to this report on developing or Egypt's strategy to develop auto industry. Let's go for more details.
Egypt prepares to launch the national strategy for the development of the automotive industry, which includes incentives to localize the manufacture of electric vehicles. A cabinet meeting chaired by Egypt's Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli was held to review the final formulation of the strategy, through which Egypt will remain and establish itself as a main gateway for emerging vehicle markets in Africa. Egypt will also seek, through this strategy, to build strong commercial and investment relations with the main regional trade partners to ensure sustainable development growth for the two sides. According to the cabinet spokesman, this will be achieved by formulating a comprehensive and integrated industrial policy to attract new investments in the vehicle industry. The initial scope of the Egyptian Automotive Industry Development Program, known as AIDP, which is part of the strategy, includes providing the required framework to develop existing car assembly and manufacturing capabilities and to encourage new investments in this sector. The program also provides incentives for the localization of electric vehicle manufacturing, including incentives for manufacturers and consumers of electric vehicles manufactured locally. The strategy, which is in line with the rules of the World Trade Organization, seeks to attract further investments in the vehicle industry in Egypt, create job opportunities, secure hard currency, and develop a competitive vehicle market. Worth mentioning that Egypt has worked on plans sponsored by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to localize environment-friendly cars, reduce dependence on fossil fuels, and keep pace with global progress in the automobile industry.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still with my guest, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, economic and banking expert. And sir, moving on to the automotive industry, Egypt is now preparing to launch the national strategy for developing the automotive industry, which includes incentives to locally manufacture electric vehicles. Now, how do you view this strategy and how can it increase Egypt's weight in the region? And all people are so eager to looking forward to the electric cars industry.
In my humble opinion, this is a crucial thing to localize a product like cars. I believe this is part of the presidential leadership, which is to have a localized product, and one day we can actually export for Africa, or maybe I hope to Europe one day. Actually, Egypt is also seek through the strategy of the automotive to build a strong commercial and investment relations with the main regional trade partners to ensure sustainable development growth for two sides. Actually, the program also provides incentive for localization of electric vehicle manufacturing, including incentives for manufacturers and consumers of electric vehicles manufactured locally. Benefit provided to locally produced electric car owners mainly include a cash incentive worth a maximum of EGP 50,000 and already applied exemption from the vehicle license tax and state resources development. Those are most important things that will motivate. And actually, there are a lot of international companies, multinational companies, they are trying to enter the Egyptian market to benefit from this and maximize their profit. And this is important, which will help in creating new jobs, getting FDI, which will positively reflect on the GDP growth that we are aiming by 2022 to reach 5%.
Right. Now the government is looking forward to establishing strategic partnership with international companies in various industrial fields. And as you mentioned, of course, with regards to electric vehicles. Now, how do you view Egypt's measures to facilitate the cooperation with international companies?
Actually, Egypt is doing a lot of things in the economic part. Actually, they are playing on two main parts, which is the international part and the local part. They started, I would like to start from the local part. They created a lot of initiatives for SMEs, and this is the most important things in my humble opinion. Because if you would like to have a solid economy, you have to diversify the source of income in your country. Hypothetically, if I would like to explain it or elaborate it for our audience today, example, if the economy is built on two multinational companies, if one of them defaulted or there is a bankruptcy, what will happen? We will lose like 50% of our economy. But ABC investment, if you would like to do an investment, you have to diversify your portfolio. If we wear the hat of the government, what is the diversification in this situation? To build a lot of infrastructure companies that will enter the market. For that reason, the government, with coordination with Ministry of Finance and the CBE, Central Bank of Egypt, they initiated the SMEs initiative to focus providing lower interest rate from 5% to 8%, and they motivate the banks to provide this for the customers in addition to each 20% of their loan portfolio. In the international part, actually, the international part, they focused on a lot of things to localize and provide incentive like the FDI new law and to get more FDI.
Right. So you mentioned SMEs or small and medium enterprises. Now, how far do you think small and medium enterprises can help in building the Egyptian economy and sustainable development in Egypt? And how far can they help and support the youth finding jobs and creating job opportunities?
First of all, hats off for this question. Actually, it's a compounded question. Eventually, if we divide it into parts, the first part of this question, the SMEs. The SMEs, the most important things, as I told you and our audience, to build economy. And this is aligned with our vision 2030 vision to have a sustainable economy. We built this strategy through main pillars. The first one, to have sustainable economy. This is through the first thing, to have a digitalized things, to build on financial inclusion. Actually, the financial inclusion we reached that our economy, if we can say it, official and unofficial economy or gray economy as they are saying it or calling it, the unofficial economy. The challenge how to merge an official economy with the official economy. A lot of people, they are asking, what will impact me when we merge them? Actually, it will reflect on, first of all, the tax income, okay, which will reflect on the education budget. We can realize easily that the education budget increased from, as far as I recall, in 2014 to 2015, from 40 billion Egyptian pound to reach 65 billion Egyptian pound in 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one of the impact that you are trying to push, increasing health budget per capita. In my humble
I guess we will need another episode to talk more about small and medium enterprises. Unfortunately, our time is running out. Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, economic and banking expert, many thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for this kind invitation and hosting.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That brings us to the end of this edition of the Daily Debate. Many thanks for watching. This is Naveen Ramzi signing off.